Hello, Flying Longhorns. Chuck Harris here, Executive Director of the Texas X's, and welcome to 2021. I don't know about you, but I am ready for the new year. It has been a long haul, but the future is bright, and all of us at the X's are looking forward to getting back out on the road with you. Today, you're going to hear about the amazing trips we have planned for 2021 and 2022, and of course, safety will be a top priority. We are so lucky to have the amazing team in our travel department at the Texas X's, who many of you know. They have put so much thought and time into these trips, and I can't wait for you to see what's in store. We talk a lot about these days about back to normal, getting back to normal, the new normal, but for me, getting back out on the road with our fellow Longhorns, enjoying what will be a burnt orange sunset somewhere in the world together says back to normal to me like nothing else. So hook 'em horns, and I hope to see you out there.
Hey y'all, and welcome to our 2021 and 2022 live travel preview. My name is Shelly Norton, and I'm the Director of Travel for the Texas X's Flying Longhorns. I'm so absolutely excited to be able to be here today to talk travel with you. Man, 2020 was quite a year, huh? I know for all of us who love travel as much as we all do, it was just so painful to have some of our amazing travel plans and travel dreams put on hold. I don't know about y'all, but this is probably the longest I've ever been home, probably since I left high school or college. I've spent almost every waking moment daydreaming, sleep dreaming, just thinking about travel all the time, whether it's remembering back to trips that I've done before, thinking of places, making lists of places that I absolutely have to get to very, very soon, or kind of reminiscing back on some favorite places that I want to go and visit again. We know that right now everyone's kind of coming at travel from a different approach. For some of y'all, we've heard that you're starting to get your vaccines and you're calling us and you're so excited knowing that once you're vaccinated, the world is your oyster and you're ready to get back out there. For others of y'all, some of you have been traveling this whole time. I know for other folks, you're still kind of in a watching and dreaming and waiting phase. So we hope that today's event will really just kind of inspire and entertain you. So even while travel was on hold for almost the last year, the three of us, Janice, Leslie, and I, have been hard at work from our homes, keeping the travel department of Texas X's up and running. We were working, we wanted to keep travel in your minds. We wanted to kind of still be in your lives and keep spirits up. So we've kept up our monthly emails. We had some fun actually going out and creating some video content with our tour providers and with tour directors around the world to bring some videos to you. And we even held an incredible photo contest, and the winners were just in the recent Alcalde magazine. When COVID put everything on hold in March, we actually had about 600 travelers already booked for 2020. It was actually on track to be one of our biggest years yet. As we very quickly realized it was going to be more than just a month or two of a shutdown, we were on the phone almost every day with y'all, our travelers, and with our tour partners, working through postponed trips, reaccommodating travelers, and adjusting trip dates to try to make them get to a point in the future where they'd be feasible to operate. We were just there all the time, and it was some tough times for all of us. But what we realized throughout those days was that the strength of our relationships are really what got us through. Our relationships with y'all, and also with our long-standing travel partners. A lot of these tour providers that we work with, we've partnered with for decades. And what was really great for us is we were actually able to pick up our cell phones and pretty much speed dial our contacts at these different tour companies to talk through postponed trips and try to take care of our travelers as best as we can. For our travel partners on their side, a lot of them had chartered cruise ships or bought out hotel space and literally had every element of your amazing trip ready to go, and then they weren't able to take you on it and operate the trip. And they were dealing with not being able to get refunds from their international suppliers. So I know for all of us, it was really stressful times, but I can say that in the travel industry, nobody did more for their travelers than our travel partners, and we're so grateful for their relationship, and we can't wait to get you back out on their trips again. When you do start thinking about travel, you'll notice some great positive changes that are taking place. There are more relaxed cancellation policies, some fully refundable deposits, others sometimes a grace period for making a deposit and then changing your mind about the trip. Some of our 2021 and 2022 pricing will remain at 2020 levels for those travelers who weren't able to travel in 2020 and want to rebook again. And we also have a good number of no single supplement trips as well from our tour partners to help out those single travelers. We use Redpoint Travel Insurance as our valued travel insurance provider. Now, some of y'all might not be as familiar with Redpoint because we actually just started partnering with them in early 2020. So you might not have gotten a chance to speak with them or use them yet, but we know that when you do, you're going to be really impressed. So this company was founded by special ops veterans, paramedics, and global security experts. They have this incredible worldwide team of amazing men and women who are perfectly situated to offer travel assistance to you. Now, we do know that a lot of y'all might have a lot of travel insurance questions as you start getting back out on the road after COVID. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of our upcoming monthly emails to do a deep dive into some of your most burning questions about travel insurance coverage. I say it every time, but it remains the same. The absolute best part of this job isn't jet setting around on amazing trips. It's always coming back home and being able to work with the incredible team in the Flying Longhorns office. Even though we're working from home, the three of us have just stayed so strong this year. I thought I couldn't appreciate Janice and Leslie any more than I already did. And then 2020 happened and I realized they were just even more incredible than I had imagined. They were so tireless. They were so, I'm getting verklempt. They were so positive, and even though we were apart, we had this amazing support and this trust, and it's just been so wonderful to partner with them and know that we all have each other's back. So I can say that my sanity for last year and a big thank you is all owed to Janice and Leslie. So they're the most amazing women in the world, and I'm so grateful that we're able to work together and be friends as well. Whew, okay, let's move on to travel before this gets too emotional. So I know the big question on everyone's mind is, when's travel going to get back to normal? I think we hear that on the phone, almost every day. And I'll say, if I could answer that, I would probably be a billionaire by this point, at least in the travel industry. No one can really say that exactly yet. Obviously, there's a lot of things still up in the air and still being sorted out at this point with travel restrictions and vaccinations and things. But I can give you a couple little tidbits of insight that we're getting from our travel industry connections. So as Chuck mentioned in his intro, safety and health, while it's always been a huge priority, is obviously now a #1 priority. And that's from every step along the way. That's the Uber that you take to the airport to hop on your flight. That's the airlines, that's the hotels, cruise ships, tour buses. Every single element of the travel industry is working together to try to make things as just absolutely safe and comfortable and ready for you as possible. So that being said, we absolutely will not be operating a trip until we know that we can do it safely and that all of our travelers, we've taken the most precautions that we can. So people have been also asking us, so with that being said, are you going to be requiring vaccines? Are you requiring masks? And the answer to all of that is it's actually not something that we would require at Texas Exes. Those kind of things are going to be required way, way, way over our heads. It's going to be the government of a country that you're wanting to visit requiring proof of vaccine, or an airline requiring that you wear a mask. So there's going to be elements along the way that are going to be decided by forces way out of our hands. And so those will be things that we'll keep you posted about as trips do start to operate again. We'll be very clear, and our tour partners will be very clear with you about kind of what's required for all the different steps along the way. If you have a trip in mind and you do want to make a deposit, as I said, some of our tour partners are offering either refundable deposits or loosened or relaxed cancellation penalties. And just know that you will never lose your deposit. If you put a deposit down now, let's say on a trip in May, and for whatever reasons that trip doesn't operate, you would be able to move that money to a future trip at another date with that same tour partner. So the same trip at another time, another different trip later in the year, that money is never gone. It's sort of like a credit that you'll always be able to use. If you do have other questions that maybe you think, are kind of big, greater picture travel questions that might benefit everybody that's joining us today, we do have the kind of a Q&A feature. So there, if you wiggle your mouse or you touch your screen, there's a little chat box feature. If you click on that and open it, there's a chat where you can put questions. And that chat is also going to play a role because we're going to be awarding some incredible prizes, and how we're going to be doing that is via travel trivia. So you're going to need to be watching live. So if you're here joining us now, you've already got that covered. And what you're going to do is when we get to our prize drawing slides, Janice, my colleague, is going to read the prize question. You're going to want to type your answer into the Q&A feature and include your full name and your email address. So we're going to need 3 things for you to be considered in the running to be a winner: your full name, the answer to the question correctly, of course, and your email address. And they're going to be given away in the order that we received them. So you're going to want to have your fast fingers ready to go. So I'm ready to get going on some travel here. So I'll warn you that over 2021 and 2022, we have about 150 trips. So I am not going to go through all of those in every detail with all of y'all today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be hitting some favorites, hitting some highlights. Some things that we hear from y'all are we have some very, very classic, timeless itineraries that we run almost every year, and they always sell out, and they're some of our wildly popular trips. So I'm going to feature some of those. Then we're also going to highlight ones that I'm calling kind of new and noteworthy. And those are out there for y'all who call us up and you're like, all right, I've already done all the ones I want to do. What do you have that's new? So I'm going to play up some of those as well. So I hope you're ready, and let's get started on our vicarious trip around the world. We are going to start out right in our own backyard with some trips in North America. So I think we all knew there was beauty in our own country. We have the majestic national parks. We might have, and I'm going to loop myself in on this, sometimes we take for granted the amazing trips that are right on our own continent. I think maybe what 2020 taught us, and if some of y'all maybe got out and did some road trips or whatnot, we realized how beautiful our own country is. So we do have some amazing classic itineraries in North America that we offer nearly every year. Alaska is one of them. We actually offer Alaska 3 different ways over the next couple years. We have a small expedition cruise ship program to Alaska, which will allow you to get somewhat active, get you out walking and hiking a little bit, maybe some kayaking. We also have Alaska on a larger cruise ship, which will offer you different shore excursions and all of those larger ship amenities. And we also have a land program to Alaska in case you're not a cruiser and you'd rather get out and see more of the interior of Alaska via motor coach. The Kentucky Derby is also one of our classic US itineraries. This is a really neat way to experience the most exciting 2 minutes in sports with all of the details taken care of for you. All you need to do is hop on the plane, show up there, and everything's included. Well, the other thing you have to do is make sure you've got your seersucker suit and bow tie and hat ready. But other than that, everything else is all arranged for you. We have a very popular national parks and lodges trip that takes you to some of our most popular US national parks like Yellowstone, again, with beautiful hotel properties, lodges in the parks, and all the details taken care of. And then also I want to highlight the Canadian Rockies, another one of our classic itineraries. This is a great way to see the beautiful, beautiful scenery of that region, and you do it via the Gold Leaf service on the Rocky Mountaineer train. So that's a really beautiful, unique program that we offer. Some of our other North American classics that are featured here, a beautiful Great Lakes cruise. You can see the picture there of Mackinac Island, famously car-free. And I think there's as many fudge shops as I've ever seen anywhere in my life, and I tried them all when I was there. The Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta is a great long weekend, easy hop over to that region, to Albuquerque, to see the beautiful displays of the balloons. There's the dawn lighting and the evening ones, and it's just a short, delightful program to join in. The Rose Parade is another one. You can ring in the new year in sunny Southern California. There's a champagne New Year's Eve brunch on board the Hornblower yacht. And you also, this trip comes with VIP seating near the start of the parade. So it's a great feature to have there. And then also featured here is a really unique program that we have it's to Yellowstone in the winter. So you can see the pictures there, obviously not the way you sometimes see pictures of Yellowstone with the like snowcat thing going there. And you're going to be going deep into the park, hoping to see wolves and definitely spotting a lot of other wildlife in this beautiful park when it's not as crowded as well, which is just spectacular. Some newer and noteworthy domestic trips. So we've got a couple beautiful programs going to California over the next couple years. We have one that's the California Rail Discovery, focusing on Northern California and including the wine country and a lunch on board the Napa wine train. And we also have a California program that highlights Yosemite and Death Valley and Sequoia National Park and really hits some of those beautiful parks of California with all the arrangements, taken care of in one seamless trip for you. Something kind of fun that we're doing, we are headed back out to West Texas. We haven't offered a trip like this in a number of years, I think over 10 years. And we actually worked with a local tour operator to put together a very curated and beautiful trip out to West Texas, to Big Bend and to Marfa out in that area. So that's coming up this spring. So that's a nice way maybe of getting your feet wet on traveling again without even having to leave the state. We also have beautiful trips going out over the next couple of years to the national parks of Utah and also into the area of Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills and Badlands as well. So a lot of focus on our beautiful national parks to get people out and traveling there. Some other new and noteworthy domestic trips that we have, and this slide always warms my heart because I've actually lived in all three of the places featured on your screen right now. So one of them is Hawaii. We have a great program there coming up in 2022. It'll visit 3 different Hawaiian islands, and all of your inter-island flights are included in the itinerary, as is a little bit of free time, whether for you that means golfing or beaching or hiking, whatever it is, that time is built into the trip for you. We also have a really unique trip that is going to be going to New Orleans, and it's organized by the National World War II Museum. They just opened a beautiful brand new Art Deco hotel, very much in the time period that was happening during World War II. And this trip will allow you some incredible early entries and behind the scenes tours of the museum. So a really unique opportunity to get to one of our favorite cities, New Orleans, but also get some really interesting and special behind the scenes time at the National World War II Museum. And down at the bottom there, you're probably eyeing that lobster like I am, a beautiful trip to coastal Maine. So this one will show you the absolute best of the coast of Maine, some of those beautiful craggy shorelines, that dark, dark blue water and the evergreen trees. You'll also go up into the White Mountains of New Hampshire and have a lobster feast, of course, on that one. So those are all some upcoming domestic trips over the next couple years that are some exciting options for you. So my travel colleague, Leslie, also is familiar with the New England area. She lived there for a number of years, and I'm going to bring her on to tell you about some of her favorite trips.
Thanks, Shelley. Hi, everybody. I lived in Southern Connecticut for 18 years, so I had the privilege of traveling throughout New England many times during all 4 seasons. Our Flying Longhorns trip to Cape Cod and the islands is a perfect sampler of the beautiful New England sights during the peak summer season. Not only will you see highlights of Boston, you'll travel by ferry to both Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, 2 of the most unique destinations in the Cape. Also included in your tour is the historic Plymouth Rock, along with Newport, Rhode Island, a charming coastal city known for its magnificent mansions. And that is in fact me in front of that mansion you see on the right. It's absolutely incredible. From my experience, the logistics of traveling on your own between all of these places in a week's time would be a bit tricky, but we handle everything and we make it effortless. Now I'd like to tell you about another trip to this region, New England, cruise this October and next for those of you wanting to see the beautiful leaves turning. What makes this trip special is getting to experience multiple port stops in both New England and Canada. Each night you'll return to a luxurious mid-sized ship that was completely refurbished in 2020. This trip departs from New York City with stops in Newport, Boston, Nova Scotia, Quebec City, and Montreal, to name a few. You'll also get to experience cruising on the St. Lawrence Seaway. Much like the first New England trip I talked about, this itinerary covers so many spectacular sites over 10 days at a manageable pace with all the logistics handled for you.
All right, everybody, this is what I was talking about. We are ready to do our first prize drawing. So what's going to happen, you're going to want to go ahead and open the meeting chat window, kind of the Q&A feature. That's where you're going to be typing in your answer to the trivia question, your full name, and your email address. Okay, so when everybody's ready for that, what we're going to do, you're going to have all 3 of those things into the little Q&A chat in order for us to be able to qualify you. For this first prize, we are going to be looking for 6 winners. And the amazing prizes that you're going to be playing for in this first drawing are a $250 travel certificate from our tour partner, Orbridge, and 5 $50 travel certificates from Premier World Discovery. My colleague Patricia is going to be behind the scenes, and she's going to see all of your answers coming into the chat feature. And so what she's going to be compiling all that, and we're going to announce all of our prize winners at the end of the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I am going to bring on Janice, and she is going to tell you the first question.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you could join us today. I have a total of 5 questions that I'll be asking throughout the presentation. So here's question number 1. Which body of water is located to the west of Israel? Good luck.
All right, there's our first trivia question. You're playing now for 6 different prizes, a $250 certificate, and 5 $50 travel certificates. So go ahead and put those answers into the chat feature as we continue around the world. We are headed next to just some of, these trips are straight out of your dreams. When you see these travel images, it's just absolutely, it just transports you. These are some of our more exotic trips. These are the trips, Asia and Oceania, we're talking about our Tahiti, our Bora Bora, trips to Thailand, seeing the Sydney Opera House or Ayers Rock on these kind of trips. So some of our classic trips that we do offer multiple years is our French Polynesia cruise. So this visits some of the most beautiful islands of French Polynesia, including Tahiti, Bora Bora, Moorea. This is on a cruise program. So the neat thing about this is that every day you're going to wake up and be ready to explore a new beautiful island and then sail overnight so that you can really maximize your time while visiting this spectacular area. And I know we've all seen pictures of French Polynesia and you think to yourself, like, okay, it looks really pretty. I got to tell you, when you're there, it'll just absolutely blow your mind. The color of the water in the lagoons is just breathtaking. It's so beautiful. Another classic itinerary that we do very, very frequently is our Australia and New Zealand trip. This is a really great way. It's a huge continent, Australia. And so this trip puts together the highlights of it, including Ayers Rock or Uluru, Sydney, and then also including some of the highlights of New Zealand as well. And all the arrangements are taken care of for you. So you're really going to see the best of those destinations in one seamless trip. The next slide covers some of our incredible trips that are my personal favorite part of the world. So I am a huge lover of Asia. It's my favorite region. And I know, but what I really love about it is how foreign it is, but that also makes it pretty challenging to be traveling there by yourself. So if you're like me and you absolutely love the food and the culture and just the atmosphere of Asia, we invite you to join one of our trips. That way you can travel with some Flying Longhorns and still get to experience these destinations with all the arrangements and kind of all the maybe challenges taken away for you. So we have some incredibly beautiful trips to Singapore, to Thailand, to Vietnam, to Cambodia to see the temples of Angkor Wat, and also to Japan as well. So keep an eye out for some of those beautiful Asia programs. Some trips that I'm calling classic and unique, because these are some itineraries we have offered before, but we do sort of rotate them around a little bit. On the left there are pictures and a map from our Trans-Siberian Railway trip. So this one, I think for most people, you're either so dying to do it, it's on your bucket list, or you think someone is bananas for taking a train across Siberia. So if you are one of those bucket list folks, we do have an incredible program, and this is really the way to do it. The train is called the Tsar's Gold, and it's just a comfortable way and just a very, very interesting way to see this unique part of the world that most people will never get to. The other pictures there, most of you probably recognize, beautiful photos from India. So we do have an incredible program called Mystical India. Again, the only way I would say to see kind of a challenging country to travel in. The hotels we use are very, very beautiful and comfortable. All the arrangements are in place. You're able to try Indian food, safely and enjoyably with your group and that kind of thing. We do go on a tiger safari as well in one of their national parks. And so there always is the chance to see tigers on that trip. So another part of the world that we have some very, very popular trips is, of course, the beautiful continent of Africa. I think the continent of Africa really speaks to a lot of people. I know travelers personally who come back from a safari and they are immediately thinking about their next one. It just absolutely speaks to their heart, and the beauty of the African landscape is just very magical to them. There's a lot of diversity in Africa as well. We do offer safari programs, of course, but then we also offer trips to regions like Morocco or Egypt, which are very different, of course, from like a Tanzania safari program. Some of our most popular trips are in Africa. One of them is Journey to Southern Africa. I think what makes this trip such a winner amongst our travelers is the combination of both urban time in Cape Town, of course, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, as well as Johannesburg. You have 3 nights on safari, so you absolutely get the chance to get out and usually see the big 5 of the safari animals. And then you have this amazing experience on board the Rovos rail train, which, as you can see in the photos, it's literally like traveling back in time. They actually sound a gong when dinner is served, and you do have to clean up and dress up a little bit for dinner in the evenings, which everyone has a lot of fun with. And then you also see Victoria Falls on this like incredible program. Our most popular full safari program is the Tanzania Wildlife Safari. So this one is much more focused on the wildlife and the natural scenery of the Tanzania region, which of course is the Serengeti Plains. So you'll see Ngorongoro Crater there. You'll of course see the plains and the animals in the Great Migration. And you'll also have the chance to do what I think for a lot of people is a real bucket list activity, which is the sunrise hot air balloon ride over the plains to see the herds of migrating animals. So another very popular trip. We offer it every year, and it's always a real winner with our travelers. Some other interesting Africa programs that we offer that you might not be as familiar with. Morocco is one of them. I absolutely love the fusion of the French and Arabic culture that you really only find in Morocco. They seem to have a way there as well with those beautiful, colorful tiles you can see. Every building that you visit is just an absolute feast for your eyes with the gardens and the tile work. I love the food in Morocco, and the countryside is actually very diverse. You'll spend time in some of the cities like Marrakesh, visiting the souks. You'll also see some of the Atlas Mountains and the desert there as well. And featured over on the right, there's a very unique program that we do. It's actually a cruise program that goes all the way from Athens to Santorini, then visit stops in Egypt like Alexandria, goes through the Suez Canal. You'll have time in Cairo and in Luxor. Then you'll actually get off the ship in Jordan, go up and visit Petra, and continue to Jerusalem. So all of those, all of those are absolute must-see destinations, and it's all put together in one seamless itinerary for you. And the ship that one uses is a small chartered ship that only holds about 200 people. So it's going to be a smaller group doing this incredible, very bespoke itinerary on that one. So my colleague Leslie, her love affair with the Flying Longhorns began on a trip to Egypt, and it's one of her favorites and one of mine as well. So I'll turn it over to Leslie to tell you about Egypt.
Thanks, Shelley. Hi again, everyone. I have to say, of all the countries around the world that I visited, Egypt may be my favorite. And like Shelley said, it was also my first trip, my first Flying Longhorns trip. It turned me into such a huge fan of our alumni travel program. I went to work for the Flying Longhorns a year later, and I've never looked back. Our tour to Egypt covers all the must-see sites. You'll get to go to sprawling Cairo, spend time there, see its crazy energy, its colorful markets and mosques, to then get on a boat, a small river boat, for a multi-night cruise down the Nile, and then you'll make stops along the way. And of course, you got to get on a camel. That is me in the picture, hanging on for dear life, but it was wonderful. Of course, you'll see the pyramids, the Temple of Karnak, Luxor, Valley of the Queens and Kings, and Abu Simbel. You have a dedicated Egyptologist who travels with your group the entire time, along with a tour director. The other thing I really like about this trip, and it's included in your trip price, is the intra-Egyptian, meaning the travel within the country by air and boat, allows you to visit almost every major historic site over the course of 10 days. That's a huge benefit, and it was one of my favorite things about the trip. And as Shelley was saying earlier about Asia, Egypt is intense, exotic. The language is completely different, of course, and going with a group, especially a bunch of adventurous Flying Longhorns, is the way to do it. And it is one of our most popular destinations.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, everybody, we're back to another prize drawing. I hope you're ready. Get your fingers ready on that keypad, and we are going to do our next round of trivia. Be ready to type your answer, plus your full name, and also the email address as well. So answer, full name, and email ready in the chat feature. We are going to be looking for 2 winners for this next question. The prizes this round are a $500 travel certificate from our travel partner, the National World War II Museum, as well as 2 $250 certificates as a package of $500 from our tour partner, Go Next. So here's Denise with our next trivia question.
Hi there. So here's question number 2 for you. 2 countries are tied for the largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Name one of the 2 countries. Good luck with your answer.
All right, so which 2 countries have the highest number of World Heritage Sites? Just give us at least one of those to be in the running to win. Thank you, Janice. All right, as y'all put your answers in, we are going to continue our trip around the world, and we are going to be visiting the continent of Europe next. So I feel like for a lot of us travelers, Europe almost feels like home. The way we say that Africa or Asia feels very exotic and very foreign, and that's why we love it. Going to Europe in a way feels like a really amazing version of home with like even better coffee or something like that, or deeper history or something. So it's a very popular continent for our Flying Longhorns travelers, and we offer a huge variety of trips there. I would say that that is the continent where we have the bulk of our trips. So if there's a destination in Europe that you have in mind, chances are we're going to be offering a trip there over the next couple of years. So I'll cover a few of our more popular ones, but just know that all of our trips are going to be up on our website. So if I don't talk about a trip today, doesn't mean we're not doing it. It just means we can send you some information about it. But we do cover a lot of Europe, as you can see in the next slide. One of our more popular trips is the Christmas markets of Europe, the holiday markets. This is a beautiful river cruise program that's done in late November, early December. It's a chance to get over to Europe and see the beautiful, charming Christmas markets in that part of the world, but then still be home in time with all of your shopping done in order to celebrate Christmas with your family. We do some beautiful trips to the Normandy region of France, both by cruise and on a land program. The Iberian Peninsula is also a popular destination for us. We have land trips to Spain and Portugal, as well as cruise programs there as well. Of course, beautiful Switzerland, Austria, and then we have an amazing Greece program. We are very lucky to have a couple right here in Austin. They are Greek Texan, and they curate and lead tours to Greece and Italy for us. So if Greece has been on your list, I can't think of a better way to go than with one of our travel programs. Our next slide, this one always makes me smile because Italy is absolutely our favorite destination. We did a whole video about Italy because we love it so much, and we know that y'all do too. Any given year, we probably have about like 10 or 15 trips to Italy. We go there on land, we go there on cruises. We have trips that cover a lot of Italy. We have trips that stay in one region. We have trips focused on the food. We go to Tuscany, we go to Amalfi, we go to Apulia, we go up to Cinque Terre. So if you are thinking about Italy, I have a feeling we have got you covered. So keep an eye out on our website. Look for Italy trips. If you've got a region in mind, part of Italy you'd like to go to, if you've never been and want to talk through kind of the pros and cons of different regions, we would love to talk with you about it. So we pride ourselves in taking you to some of your favorite spots in Italy. Some newer and more noteworthy European trips to keep an eye out for. One of them is through the World War II Museum again. So this trip is called Easy Company, and it's actually based on the book and miniseries Band of Brothers. That was a parachute regiment, and you're going to follow in their footsteps on a 13-day itinerary that goes through Europe and actually is accompanied by some of the actors from the HBO miniseries Band of Brothers. We're also able to take you kind of with some great access to some international sporting events. One of those is the Open Championship golf tournament in St. Andrews, Scotland, which is the birthplace of golf, and also to Wimbledon tennis tournament. So those are some very interesting sporting events. They might be on your list and you might be wondering, I want to do it, but I just don't know how. Well, we've got it all figured out for you, and we can go ahead and get you there for those events. Another area that I want you to kind of put on your travel radar, Montenegro and Slovenia. They're not yet, I would say, mainstream buzzwords of traveling, but Montenegro and Slovenia are right near Italy and Croatia, which I know you've heard of. And those are very beautiful, popular destinations that are also sometimes very crowded. So Slovenia and Montenegro offer a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to travel in that kind of almost that same region and see some off the beaten path places. The beautiful picture with the rowboats down there, that is from Montenegro. So it's just absolutely beautiful scenery and a really neat country to kind of put on your list and think about visiting. Also, Oberammergau. So this is the passion play that takes place every decade. Well, it was supposed to happen in 2020, and of course it couldn't happen. So it has been rescheduled for 2022. And I gotta say, it's not often that you get a second chance to book a trip that only happens once a decade. So if you had wanted to go in 2020, but it didn't work out for you for other reasons, like the date, for example, before COVID, there is a chance to go again in 2022. So keep that on your list if it's somewhere that you've been wanting to go. Leslie's about to share with you one of her favorite trips in Europe, which is the beautiful areas of the Netherlands and Holland. So here is Leslie.
Thanks, Shelley. Well, I know all of you know Holland for its windmills, canals, wooden shoes, but nothing tops the flowers. The spectacular gardens, the sheer amount of floral production are indescribable. Our Dutch Waterways tours let you experience all the iconic sights of Holland, including the progressive cultural city of Amsterdam with its countless bike riding citizens and many fascinating museums. But I would say the highlight, at least of my trip, was Keukenhof Gardens during the peak bloom season of April. That picture in the bottom that you see of the tulips, that is one tiny portion of the gardens, and they are unbelievable. You also have the option with these trips of pre and post extensions in Antwerp or Amsterdam, depending on which one you choose. And that gives you the opportunity to explore those cities in more detail. Last but not least, the famous Floriade, something that was a bit new to me that I was obviously not able to visit because I went to Holland not that long ago. It happens only every 10 years. It's the pinnacle of Dutch horticultural exhibitions, and that is happening in April of 2022. So we have a tour that includes a stop there. The last thing I want to say about these trips is that no single supplement applies. That means you pay the same if you have a room to yourself or if you're going with a partner or spouse.
Oh my gosh, one of the craziest things I've ever seen is a multi-level parking garage in Amsterdam, outside of the main Amsterdam train station. So I don't know if y'all have been there and if you've noticed it, but that is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And the parking garage was packed. It was just like for cars, except it was only for bicycles. And it literally had the same spiraling ramps and the whole thing was just jammed with bicycles. And that to me was kind of the pinnacle of Dutch life right there. All right, everybody, as you can see from the slide, we are cruising into our next prize drawing. Be ready to type your answer. I think we've all kind of gotten the hang of this by now with your answer, your full name, and your email. We are looking for 3 winners for this next round. We have 3 $500 travel certificates from our tour partner, AHI. And AHI is our largest travel partner. So with these certificates, you'll probably have about 40 trips at your disposal to choose from over the next couple years. So here is Janice with our next trivia question.
All right, thanks, Shelley. This is your third question. Which U.S. state has the longest coastline? Good luck with your answer.
All right, which U.S. state has the longest coastline? We'll see how well you know our very own country here. And as we continue around the world, we are going to be heading down to our neighbors to the south to visit the trips in Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. So one of the most enlightening things to me recently was when I started doing trips down in South America. You might fly for 5 or 6 hours and you feel, like you've gone a long ways. You don't have any jet lag because the time zones stay the same. So a lot of South America is on East Coast time, and countries even like Ecuador, Peru, they're East Coast time. The Galapagos is actually on Central time. So you fly down there, you still have to get through the plane ride, but once you arrive down there, you don't have that kind of unsettling jet lag that takes place. So it makes these kind of a little bit easier to get down to, and some great trips to enjoy. We do have some beautiful trips down in South America and Central America. These are some of our classic itineraries here in Peru and Ecuador. So we have trips that go in Peru into Machu Picchu and also the Amazon. And then we also have Ecuador trips that include the Galapagos. So if you are an animal lover, I have to say that you really need to make sure you get to the Galapagos soon. It's one of those places where it's like a safari, except you're out amongst the animals and they're not dangerous and they have no fear of you. And so you might be stepping over a marine iguana just to stay on the trail of your hike. Or I actually had a blue-footed booby land on my back. That is a mockingbird in the picture photobombing, a picture that I was trying to take of a colleague of mine. So the animals, they come to you. It's just an absolutely amazing experience, and there's nowhere else like it on Earth. Peru, also incredible, of course, seeing Machu Picchu and visiting the Amazon as well. There's nothing else like those places. And so they're just beautiful spots to get to. Some of them a little bit remote, of course, into the Amazon. And so it's a great way to go on one of our beautiful riverboat programs down there. Some of our other trips in South America, we have some newer ones as well. We are going to be featuring a trip to Brazil later this year. It does some time in the urban city of Rio, but also gets out into the nature of Brazil, into the rainforest, and also visits Iguazu Falls. We have a beautiful trip to Chile, which goes all the way from the north up in Santiago, takes you all the way down through the country, visits the Lake District, and also takes you all the way down to Torres del Paine National Park in the Patagonia region. And also featured on this slide is the Panama Canal. So we do offer the Panama Canal pretty regularly. It's one of our popular itineraries. This year, we're doing it in kind of an even more extensive way. This is a beautiful cruise program that goes from San Francisco all the way down, visiting stops in Mexico, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, a daylight transit through the Panama Canal, continuing back up and ending in Florida. So a longer cruise program in the springtime that'll get you down into the tropics and also include a daylight transit of the Panama Canal. If you're not as much into these warmer, tropical environments, we also have some incredible programs in the polar regions. The polar regions have some of the most dramatic scenery, some wildlife you won't see anywhere else. But again, a little bit hard to get to. Getting to Antarctica, getting to Svalbard, beyond the Arctic Circle, not easy to do on your own. So we have some incredible trips there that make it easy for you. Both our Arctic Circle and Antarctica program are on small cruises. So this is a great way to see these beautiful areas in a smaller group on a very, very small, comfortable ship. When you get up to the Arctic, you'll go up around Svalbard, beautiful wildlife spotting, seeing the walruses and puffins. Of course, down in Antarctica, you'll be seeing all the penguin colonies, leopard seals, humpback whales, just absolutely spectacular scenery. I know I thought I was going to love the penguins the most, but at the end of it, it was the icebergs that actually I had the most photos of. So it's a very unique area. And these are the kind of trips no one ever comes back from them thinking like, yeah, it was okay. They're always absolutely just earth-shattering trips that you talk about for years. This next slide I kind of whimsically called Polar Experiences, because while these trips are actually in Manitoba, Canada, the experiences that you have there are sort of polar in nature, let's say. So up in Manitoba, there's a spot where the polar bears are actually on land during kind of the late summer, waiting for the bay to freeze. They can go out and hunt for seals. And at that same time, you're also able to see the very unique beluga whales, those beautiful white whales that you see up in that top photo. A different program also, though, in Manitoba, Canada, is the Northern Lights program. So you might think you have to go to really, really far northern Norway to see them, but because of some geological and atmospheric magic, there's a spot in northern Canada where they have very great predictability of seeing the Northern Lights kind of in the late fall. So we have a beautiful program there. You go up and you stay at a wonderful lodge. You spend your days out fishing, exploring, doing whatever you'd like in the beautiful Canadian wilderness. And then in the evening, there's a good chance to see the Northern Lights there. So that's a great way to stay right on our own continent and see some of these incredible sort of polar experiences. Now, you might have, we've been going around the world, and as I'm talking about these different trips, I'm sure you turned to your spouse and you said, if only there was a way to do all of these destinations in one trip. And you know what, we already have you covered. There's absolutely a way to do that, and the only way you could do that is by private jet. So we do offer private jet programs every year. I would say that our most popular private jet program is the Around the World program. So the only way that you'd be able to see sites like the Taj Mahal or Petra and all of that in one trip. And if I told you that there's 0 airport layovers, so it's an incredibly beautiful program. Look at those leather seats. I mean, you've got a dedicated flight crew on board the trip. A lot of times when we do have travelers take these private jet trips, they come back and a lot of their stories are interestingly about their experience on board the jet. It's the beautiful destinations that attract them to the trip, but at the end of it, they have such an amazing experience with their fellow travelers and with the jet crew who stays the same on every leg of your trip, that it just becomes one cohesive, just absolutely magical experience. Granted, it comes with a hefty price tag as well. It is a private jet trip around the world, but for anyone who's looking to string together some hard to reach, kind of inaccessible destinations and do it in the most amazing comfort and style, this is the trip for you, these private jet trips. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of our trip around the world, and we do have another prize drawing. We're not yet at the grand prize. We are working up here. We have 3 incredible prizes this round. We're playing for $1,000 gift certificates in this one, so get your fingers ready, everybody. We're looking for 3 winners. With this question, we have 2 travel certificates from Gohagen & Company, each valued at $1,000, and 1 travel certificate from Odysseys Unlimited, also valued at $1,000. So here comes Janice with the question.
All right, here's question number 4 for you. Which capital city is located closest to the equator? Good luck with your answer.
All right, which capital city closest to the equator? The equator goes all the way around the world, so you'll have to try to think through which one of those capital cities is closest to it. So as we're kind of winding down our trip around the world, I wanted to give you guys just a little bit of insight into the different types of trips that we offer. So as I was going through, I showed you so many pictures of beautiful countries, and I did say some of them we visit by cruise, some are land. When we do talk about ocean cruising, I just wanted to let y'all know that for us in the alumni travel industry, we have found that the best fit for us with cruising is on small to mid-sized ships. So when I say cruising, you're picturing maybe one of those larger like carnival ships that you've seen in Galveston or you've heard about. That's actually not the kind of cruising that we do with the Flying Longhorns here as part of our group tours. The ships that we use, the largest one holds about 1,250 travelers. A lot of the ships that we end up putting our groups on are chartered, and they only hold less than 200 travelers, right down to our smaller ships, let's say in Alaska or the Galapagos, which might only have 40 travelers on them. So much, much smaller. If you think about cruising, we're happy to talk with you about the trip because the onboard amenities, of course, will vary greatly. If you're looking for an active itinerary and hiking and kayaking, you'll probably lean toward one of our smaller ships. But if, let's say, you're celebrating your 50th anniversary and want to have dinner in a different restaurant every night, we're going to point you toward perhaps one of those mid-sized ships that have some different dining venues. So they all have some pros and cons to them based on where you are in the world and kind of what type of experience you're looking for. But I can say all of them have the same very intimate atmosphere, amazing food and service. And of all the cruise programs that we do with the Flying Longhorns that we've all taken part in, we've never seen anywhere where there's lines or crowding or anything that if you're not a cruiser, you might associate with cruising. So I just wanted to let you know that it's worth looking into if you think you might want to take a cruise program. I know sometimes people say I'm not a cruiser, but there's cruising of so many different sizes and varieties that you might actually find a program that you like. Another type of cruising we do is river cruising. So these are different. These are mainly, a lot of them are in Europe, or we do one on the Mekong River. This is really neat. A lot of, especially in Europe, the towns grew around the river. So when you're on a riverboat, you arrive into the town and dock, and you're right in the heart of the historic city center, which allows you to be able to walk off the gangway. You're right on those old cobblestone streets with all the old architecture and enjoy it that way. Our travelers tell us too, one of their favorite things about it, there's no worry about motion sickness. The rivers are very, very flat, very calm, and your ship mostly will be cruising overnight. So you'll spend all day in these charming little towns like Bamberg or, Vienna, and then you get back on board, beautiful scenic cruising throughout the evening, and you wake up in another magical city. You've only had to unpack once, and there's a lot of great camaraderie on board. The ships hold only around 150 people, so you really get a chance to know fellow alumni travelers while you're there. We have some trips that are best suited to land, of course, but when we talk about our land trips, there's actually variety in this as well. So some of our land programs only use one hotel. You might spend 7 nights there, going out on different excursions each day, but always coming back to the same property. Some of our travelers specifically like those because it's like cruising on land in that you unpack once into your hotel room and you have that as your home base. Other trips might spend 2 nights in a bunch of different cities and cover a much broader region of a country. So there's all kinds of different versions of land adventures, even when it's all on the land. And then, of course, we have some trips that combine 2 of those things. So some of our popular trips that have a cruise element and then also land, Egypt is one of them. Leslie spoke about that. You'll spend time in Cairo visiting sites there, staying in hotels. Then you'll fly down and board a cruise and spend 4 nights on board a riverboat cruise program. It's a really nice mix when you have land and cruise. I find that the pace on board slows a bit when you get on the cruise portion. And if you've really been hitting it hard and having a lot of fun in your free time and sightseeing on your hotel stay, you can relax a little bit on the cruise and kind of recharge your batteries a bit. So those are the kind of the 4 types of different trips that we offer. If you go to our travel website, which I hope y'all are all familiar with at this point, it's pretty easy, travel.texasexes.org. It's a beautiful website, and on that website, you are actually able, there's a search bar, and you're able to sort trips by either the region, the month that you want to go, even by type of trip. So if you're only looking for a cruise, if you're only looking for a private jet, you can sort by those and just see those trips. Because as I kind of joked, we're in the next couple weeks, we're going to get all of our trips up, and there'll be about 160 of them up there. So it might make it easier for you to sort them a little bit and kind of narrow your search. At this point, our 2021 trips are pretty much all the way up on the website. We're not promising that things won't change a little bit, but you are able to search through them all and see what we're offering in 2021. And we're adding 2022 by the day. So since it's only January, we're still firming up a few details for next year's trips with all of our travel partners. As soon as that happens, we're building them on the website and sending them out so you're able to see them. So we just encourage you, every now and then when you're thinking about travel, jump onto the website, look around. There might be some new things that we haven't seen yet. If we talked about something today and you either don't see it on the internet or you're already just excited and you want more info, just call or email us. We can send you whatever we have. We might have preliminary flyers, we might have dates, we might at least be able to kind of make a note. What we do this for a lot of our travelers is they just say, as soon as you have more information about Spain, let me know. And we just make a note of that. And as soon as more information is ready, whether it's on the website or a brochure, we make sure that you're the first to know and that you kind of get first dibs on getting onto those trips. All right, we are nearing the end of our time here, and that means it is time for our grand prize drawing. So we got a drum roll here on this cardboard box. Our grand prize is a trip to the 2021 Kentucky Derby. So somebody's going to get to wear their hat or their bow tie when they visit the Kentucky Derby. So here is Janice. Oh, and so yeah, that's what you're playing for. And here's Janice with the question.
All right, this is the big one. Get ready. How many horses have won the Triple Crown? Good luck, everyone.
All right, so that was our grand prize winning question. So as most of you know, the Triple Crown is a series of 3 thoroughbred races. That's the same 3-year-old horse has to win the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes, and the Belmont Stakes, all within a couple of weeks of each other. So it's not incredibly common. So we're asking, how many times has that happened? All right, and while my colleague Patricia is compiling those, I have here the results of our other prize questions. So what we'll do is we'll go through the slides. I'll give you the correct answer and also announce who our winners are. Okay, so which body of water is located to the west of Israel? So to the west of Israel, it is the Mediterranean Sea. A little bit tricky. When you think Israel, I think you think Dead Sea right away. So this one's tricky. To the west of Israel is the Dead Sea. So the winner of our Orbridge certificate is Lynn Humphreys. And then we have 5 winners of our $50 travel certificate. And that is Karen Stork Sanchez, Ricardo Chan, Catherine Prentice, Mary Welliver, and PJ O'Connor. All right, so those are our first 6 winners from our first trivia question. The next trivia question, which 2 countries are tied for the largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites? Okay, so the answers to that, the tie is between China and Italy. So our 2 winners for that, we had Alana Williams as the winner of the Go Next certificate and Dennis Chastain as the winner of the World War II Museum certificate. All right, our next trivia question, question 3. Which US state has the longest coastline? The answer to that is Alaska. Kind of tricky. I know people maybe think Florida. I know Maine has California. There are kind of a lot of options. Technically, it is Alaska. So we had 3 $500 travel certificates for that. And our winners for that are David Harmon, Diane Zeitler, and Skylar Korgel. So those were our 3 winners of the AHI $500 travel certificates. The next trivia question, which capital city is located closest to the equator? That is Quito, Ecuador. So the winner of the first of the Go Hagen travel certificates is Patty Huffines. The winner of the second Go Hagen travel certificate is Andrew Ruiz. And the winner of our Odysseys Unlimited travel certificate is Kathy Keevan. All right, here we go. The winner of our grand prize, guessing correctly how many horses won the Triple Crown. The answer to that is 13. So that was our correct answer. And our grand prize winner is Sue Beers, B-I-R-E-S, Beers. There we go. So if you are one of the winners that we announced, we'll reach out to you via email and connect with you to make sure that we get your prize certificate to you. And we would be happy to help you narrow down your choices of your future trip if you have a trip certificate as well. So next up, we have time for some questions and answers. So if you haven't already done so and you want to put some questions into the Q&A feature now that we're done with all of our crazy trivia questions, please feel free to do so. I can kind of kick it off. A question that we've been getting a lot is a lot of people have been calling and asking, when can you guarantee that my trip is going to operate, or I'm looking at a trip in June, are you able to tell me that that's going to go? And the answer is that at this point, we are still kind of at the mercy of a lot of things that are happening outside of our control. So the vaccine rollout, countries reopening their borders, and all of that. So my advice in that kind of situation is that if you're looking at a trip and you love travel, as soon as you can, you're going to want to go somewhere, there's really no harm in putting a deposit down. Look into the terms and conditions. A lot of deposits are refundable in case you were to change your mind. Even if it's not fully refundable, but you're going to want to take a trip at some point. Worst case scenario, if you're excited about a trip in June or May and it can't happen, you can bump that deposit to another trip and always kind of keep that next trip in your day planner or in your calendar. People also have been asking us about getting vaccines and that kind of thing. And again, that's going to be something that's going to be controlled by governments, by airlines, and sometimes even in some cases by our tour partners. So all of that, our tour partners do all have updated websites with their wellness protocols, and all of that will also be in all the final information that you'll be receiving about trips. So we'll always be keeping you posted along the way with that. So I'm going to ask, my colleague Patricia was monitoring the chat feature, and let me see if we have any other questions that have come through.
Hey, Shelley. We have a couple coming through, but some of them are specific to particular trips. So some of the questions are, if a user can't find a particular trip online, should they just contact you for that?
Yes.
Like Hawaii, or some questions about the Bourbon trip, things like that.
Yeah, oh my God, I love it that we're already getting interest in some of these trips. So what I can tell you is we are building out the website with our 2022 programs as soon as we can. But what I recommend is if you heard about a trip today, like Hawaii or the Bourbon Experience River Cruise program, and you're thinking, I'm definitely going to want to know more about that, send us an email or give us a call and let us know that. And what we'll do is we will make a note of it on our reservation sheet, just here internally. That way, as soon as we do have more information and can send you dates, pricing, itineraries, and things like that, as they're finalized, you'll be the first to know. So if you don't see it on the website, please just reach out to it and contact us. We're going to show you our email here in a minute, and it'll be in all the emails that we send you as well. Always reach out to us, and we'll make sure that as soon as we have more final information, you're the first to know.
Okay. These are specific to trips again. So, are you planning an Iceland trip? And also, is the Passion Play trip at capacity?
Oh, good question. So Iceland is going to be included on one of our cruise itineraries in 2022. We have a beautiful program that's kind of almost got like a little bit of a Viking, I don't want to say a theme, but sort of a Viking aura around it, and that will be including visiting Iceland. And then the Oberammergau programs, we do still have space available. We offer Oberammergau two different ways, one including a river cruise program, one just a land-based program in 2022, and they do still have space available. So give us a call or an email, and we'll be happy to talk you through that.
Perfect. I think we have a time for like one or two more. And again, these are specific. Everybody is so excited about traveling. So one question, I think you hit on this earlier in the presentation, are some of the trips, specifically Italian trips, going to be made up? So, in 2021 or 2022. So if they were canceled in 2020, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a very interesting time for us, because if we had a trip in 2020 that wasn't able to operate, and let's say we weren't offering that exact same program in 2021, we often have been adding it into our schedule. So we are able to do that with our amazing tour partners who are very flexible with us, because we love being able to keep our Flying Longhorns group together. So if we have a trip going to a region like Italy and we have 14 lovely travelers signed up and it can't operate, if we don't already have that same trip the next year, we'll add it to our schedule, because we really want to be able, and we'll try to find a date that's very, very similar to your original trip date, kind of at the same time of the year. So we really, really value keeping our travelers together. We know and we hear from you that traveling with your fellow Flying Longhorns and Texas X's is really the best part of the trip. I mean, the country's great too, but it really brings it together when you're with fellow like-minded fun travelers. And so we do try to add those trips in, if we can, into our schedule to keep our groups together.
Perfect. We have a couple people asking how they sign up for emails. So how do they sign up do they just email travel@texasx's.org?
Yes,
Okay.
we can do that. Yeah, send us an email directly, and we can work with our, get you signed up for our travel emails to make sure we don't spam you. We do a lovely email about once a month where we kind of talk about some different things that are going on in the travel department. And in unique situations, such as an event like this, we'll email you for that as well. So we'd be happy to get you signed up for those, that you don't miss anything.
Perfect. Well, I think we're about at time. So I'm going to hand it back over to you.
All right, perfect. Well, we are going to just wrap up. So a couple things, like we were kind of saying as we wrap up, if you did see something you liked today, if a trip caught your eye, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are still working from home, so if you do, call our phone line, please leave a message, and Janice or Leslie or I will call you back, usually within the hour, if not even faster. At the very craziest, like today, it might be one business day, but we'll get back to you right away. Sometimes email is the easiest, because then we're seeing them come in and we'll shoot an answer right back to you. A lot of travel information is kind of coming your way this month. If you haven't already seen it, In the Alcalde magazine, our travel catalog was included in the January-February issue. And keep an eye on your mailbox. Brochures are going to start to trickle in, and also some travel catalogs from some of our amazing larger travel partners as well. And don't forget, the best way to see everything is on our website. Like I said, have a little patience with us. We're building the trips in there ourselves. We are not web developers, so it is sometimes a little bit trickier than other times, but we're getting them all in there. 2022 is going up almost daily. So our website is travel.texasexes.org. The email address, very similar because it's email, there's an @ so travel@texasexes.org. And there is our 1-800 number as well, 594-3900. So the three of us, Janice and Leslie and I, are absolutely here for you. And we recognize that doing a virtual event is not as fun as when we would meet every June and pack into the Alumni Center and hug every person you saw and holler across the room and eat and drink and share food, all the things that we're not really able to do at the moment. But we're hopeful that later this year, we might be able to organize an in-person event. I can't promise anything. This is like that crystal ball again, but just know that we love that event as much as y'all do. And if there's any way to get travelers together, have some fun, by then, maybe later in the year, we can really go into depth on 2022. Maybe we'll be traveling by then and we'll have stories to share. So if there's any way to do that, we absolutely will, and we'll keep you posted about that. So thank you so much for joining us today. I had a lot of fun putting this presentation together and thinking about sharing travel with y'all and just kind of getting that travel energy flowing again. So stay safe out there, get yourself signed up for vaccines, and we can't wait to travel with you again. So hook 'em horns.